It's so sad how we stoop so low in our human consciousness and evolution, and how we kill and rape each other, all life, and destroy the earth to such a degree. We wonder why we can't solve a lot of the problems that we have and we're facing on this earth because of what we do to other beings we call animals. And as a result, there's a lot of environmental devastations occurring throughout the world, as well as health implications due to eating animals and their secretions. And because of this, the after effect is that inside we are deadened. We actually lose our purpose because we take the purposes away from other animals. And it is sad to see the state of that humanity is in right now, pertaining to the coronavirus and the effect the media and the government actually has on people, pumping in fear and violence into them at every moment of their lives, and the public believing it, or at least they're afraid of it because they don't really know what is the real cause, the root cause of the problems that we're faced with in this world. The fact remains that we live in a herding culture. Herding, Herding, herding culture. It sounds very similar to hurting. And that's what we do. We hurt animals, we hurt the earth, we hurt each other. And we expect to live in a peaceful, loving world. And we are so much consumers and materialistic beings. Not innately, but on the outside, we're all that. Because we listen and we watch these advertisements and we listen to media and the governments buy, buy more, buy this, buy that. And we think that there's a lack out there. And so we buy all the food and we buy all the things that we don't need, like toilet paper, in dire situation when really innately what we need to do is awaken and reawaken to our innate compassion and love for all beings. And unfortunately, the society that we grew up in, this capitalist or communist or whatever society we grew up in, it's basically a worldview, a world society, because it's basically a one world where everyone is eating animals and animal products. And that is the problem. Nothing will get better on this earth if we continue to exploit others, if we continue to use others, if we continue to steal from them, to rape them, and to kill other beings. There is no one out there, no vegan out there that deliberately harms, violently with physically harms another human or animal being or the earth. Seriously, if you're a true vegan, and I know many vegans, and they have no intention physically to harm another being. Now there may be some vegans out there, and I've known some of them that really hate humans and wish all of them died and want bad things to happen to them, but never once did they actually physically do anything to them. Because we understand deeply, innately, that we want to live in the Garden of Eden. We don't want to harm anyone. And that's the thing. We want to live in paradise, in utopian world. But how can we when we're so violent every and each day? Now, to everyone that's listening that is not a vegan here, ask yourself, why do you justify peace, love, compassion for all life? Why do we continue justifying consuming the death and torture of innocent animals? And as a result, wiping and devastating environmental, what's the word I'm looking for? Devastating the environment and at the same time ruining our health, eating animal foods. It just doesn't make any sense. We've been born in a culture that programs this in us and suppresses the love and the compassion within us. That is what our culture does. Our culture conditions us to eat certain animals and their secretions and promote it at every level, from governments to corporations to media, etc., etc., and even through religious institutions and in other ways. And our whole culture, herding culture, which is basically seeing non-human animals as things to be used as property and as food, our culture has programmed all this since we were little children, actually since infancy, because we're drinking our mother's milk and our mothers are consuming the flesh and secretions of tortured and abused animals. And we take that in. We take all that fear and the violence and the suffering and the loneliness and the terror from these animals into us. And therefore, the first day of conception, even in our mother's womb, we take in all of the animal's emotions. And it's sad that we're in this mess we are in today, because unfortunately, it's never going to get any better. And I keep telling people, it's never going to get any better until we address the root cause, which is being indifferent to other beings. It's about consuming animals and animal products. And again, doesn't matter where they come from, if they're organic or halal or kosher or whatever. Once we kill, we can never live a peaceful life. We cannot steal from anyone and be happy, truly happy. We can never kill, or we can never use another being against their will and be truly happy and live in freedom and with peace and with love and without disease and illnesses. It just can't happen. This is sincerely for everybody who eats animal foods. I understand, because I was also eating animals and animal products for the first 26 years of my life. One day, about 11 years ago, there was someone or something asked me a question. I think it was my higher conscience, or maybe God, universe. But it said, if I profess to love animals and the earth, why am I consuming animal products? And so, at that very moment, even though I did not know what veganism meant, I understood that I just didn't want anything to do with the use and the killing of animals any longer. I wanted to stop supporting the use of any animals and animal products. I vowed at that moment to not consume anything that came from animals, to not support anything that used animals. So no zoos, no rodeos, no entertaining on animals, no testing on animals, no anything that contains animal ingredients, no animal foods, nothing that uses and exploits animals at all. Even if I got someone else to do it for me, I just didn't want anything to do with that. I didn't want to participate in it because I saw and I see myself in other beings. And if I would to harm them or get someone to harm them on my behalf, I would literally be harming a part of myself. And thus, I don't want anything to do with that. And eventually, a little later on, I found out that I was a vegan and I learned more about veganism and animal agriculture. And to this day, 11 years as a deep vegan and fruitarian, and I see what's happening in this world, and people are so blind, and our emotions are so hidden and suppressed. The emotions of love and compassion and kindness and empathy for others are so suppressed and hidden within us. It's really sad to see the state of the world, and it affects all of us. It affects me too, because I depend, unfortunately, on money in order to do what I'm doing, to share the message of love and compassion with others. And I'm trying to, right now, to run a business. And I don't know what the state of this business is going to be like if people can't come into Costa Rica. And so it affects not only the animals that humanity is viciously butchering and murdering and enslaving and stealing from and so forth, but it affects, there's a whole load of things that it affects, and it touches at every tentacle. It affects the environment that we live in, the nature, Mother Earth. It affects. It affects our relationships with other people. It affects our health. It affects the economy. It affects infectious. Having all these infectious diseases and illnesses. It affects our mental state, our spiritual growth. It affects virtually every level of our being, inner and outer. Not only on the outer level through our culture and our cities and business and so forth, but on the inner level as well. We can't be sane if we are doing these things that are harming other beings. We can't live a righteous and peaceful and joyous life if we're doing these immense atrocities to other beings. I mean, we can't even fathom how much destruction we're causing to the lives of trillions of animals every year, and to, of course, to the environment and ourselves. And it's so sad. I feel a lot of times depressed because of this, but I feel also empowered because I have the chance and the opportunity to share this message with others sincerely and honestly and truthfully. It's not about anyone having a PhD or an MD or being an authority or anything. It's about individually talking to people about what's going on in this world just like it is. You don't need a university degree, indoctrinated university degree that's institutionalized to speak out about these genocide that's happening throughout the world to everyone. So before you dismiss veganism or fruitarianism or anything like that, think of the harm that we each cause on a daily basis with our food choices, especially with our food choices, but with all our buying choices, and ask ourselves, can we reduce as much as we possibly can the harm? And yes, we can. And the least we can do is be vegan. Even if we're buying transitional vegan foods and all that stuff, which still somewhat affects the environment, it does not affect the environment nearly as much as animal foods do. And I'm talking about any kind of animal foods because they're all destructive in some way. But for sure, whole foods, ripe fresh, raw fruits and vegetables is number one for sure, the preferable thing, because we're not cooking and we're not using electricity, and our bodies are going to be perfect, healthy, alkaline, or mostly alkaline, and all foods cause acidity within the body, so it's not good. But for sure, animal products are immensely destructive on every level of our being, on the outer and inner. And being vegan is the single best thing we can do for justice, for all beings on this earth. Everything is interconnected. Whatever we do in one part of the world affects another in another part of the world. Whatever we do to animals affects ourselves and every being and on this earth, as well as the environment that we so much depend on. Let's not destroy, kill, steal, and rape. Let's really, truly walk our talk. If we want to live in peace and harmony and love and with compassion for all, then we need to do that also with our food choices by being vegan. Thank you for listening. And if you did find this useful or helpful, give it a thumbs up. Please like it. Share it around with everyone who would benefit from it. And don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Get my books as well, because my books talk about this more in detail. Please. Also, my newest book called Creating a Beautiful World. That's what we want, is we want to create a beautiful world. We don't want to live in hell. We want to live with peace, with love, with the... I think that's it for this video. I can go on and on and on, but please do, if you want to learn more, do get my books. They're available on Amazon and worldwide on every continent. Amazon.com, weareinterconnected.com, peaceful-village.com. Thank you for listening. I'll see you soon.